Hello, station crew! In my day, I've watched far too many Syndicate agents, including myself, buy stuff that they just never end up using. It's always sad to see a Syndicate fail, so hopefully this guide will help you finish those objectives cleanly. Today, we'll be taking a look at civilian jobs. I am just going to gloss over the librarian, boxer, and musician, since they're essentially just passengers with their own room and sometimes unique items. Always remember that these are not one-size-fits-all. Your loadout should always depend on your objectives. If you need to kill the captain, don't buy thief gloves and a storage implant, buy a gun and a mini-bomb. Fittingly, our first look is at the passenger. Now, passenger is a strange case because you don't really have much of anything to your name. No special access, no special tools, and nothing you're meant to be doing. This being the case, I'm just going to show you a generalist kit. This kit is a staple of my Syndicate rounds. A Viper, an extra magazine, an EMAG, and a storage implanter. These put together will get you pretty much anywhere and let you kill whoever you might need. First great thing about this set, it can all fit inside the storage implant. As long as you don't implant yourself in front of everyone, nobody's ever going to know you have contraband until you're using it on them. If you need extra room, you can take the empty implanter out, but be sure to use soap on it first. I can't count how many Cindy rounds I've ended as detective by scanning DNA on these things. Second great thing, the Viper. I love this gun. The uplink calls it somewhat underpowered, but which is just plain wrong. You can easily take out a sec officer with just a quick mag dump, and take a spare magazine to stock back up on ammo. Be sure to set to automatic before you start blasting. Speaking of ammo, that leads me to my third thing. The EMAG is great. Of course, you can easily trespass wherever you need, but there's so much more than that. See that soda machine? You can EMAG that and get some stimulants. See the tool vent? You can EMAG that and it'll give you insulated gloves, which you should never give to a passenger. EMAG an autolathe that'll let you print ammo. EMAG a shady cigs that gives you healing smokes. There's a million things you can do with this thing, and I recommend checking out the wiki article about it. Mostly because I wrote it. A quick aside, Passenger does have a unique uplink item, that being the Rick boxing gloves, which it also shares with the Boxer. It works a lot like the North Stars, in that it upgrades your unarmed strikes to do 8 damage. It's a bit of a trade-off. They're cheaper than North Stars at 6 TC, knock down an opponent after 4 hits, are much quieter, and are much less likely to get you out as Syndicate, but they don't swing as fast, nor do they have auto swing. These are surprisingly good for stun locking someone to death, and they're one of the quietest ways to give a person if you need to do that. Librarian also has a unique item, the Cane Blade. For 5 TC, you get a cane with a hidden sword inside, which you can quickly draw with Alt-Z. It's very comparable to the Captain's Sword, having the same swing speed and only 1 less damage, but no reflect chance. For all 2 Librarian mains out there, this is a really good killing tool. Next up, Lawyer. This is a fun one. Being the server's designated devil's advocate, you're especially good at keeping your buddies out of jail. Your loadout should always depend on your objectives, but I like to take on a support role as Lawyer for that reason. First up, the Syndicate encryption keys. Here's your playbook as a Syndicate Lawyer. Whenever you have a client, try your code word on them. If they respond with another code word, you're in business. Give them the spare encryption key, and you become their guy in the chair. With access to security comms, the brig, and the power of shaming the warden for not following space law, you can become a massive thorn in security's side, passing on sensitive info to your buddies. Just don't break them out of the brig without a plan. Next is the EMAG. If ever you are in a position where you're the only one in security, this is a one-way ticket to anything in the army that's not bolted down. Even failing that, this is a great all-purpose tool. Don't forget to use it on your lodge robe for a free Cybersun pen. Depending on your roleplay level, you can get up to some real funny business with that and a paper stamp by the head of security. It's also a decent melee weapon. Finally, if you're really desperate to get someone out of jail, you can use the EMAG to do it somewhat covertly, and that's a big somewhat. Those are all the Lawyer essentials in my opinion. One more thing that's just kind of funny. If you get a radio jammer and just walk around in security, you're going to be a massive nuisance. Security relies on their comms for pretty much everything, and cutting that off is extremely helpful. Be sure to replace the battery with the large one if you can. Besides that, pick whatever's best for your objectives. Janitor is interesting. You're busy pretty much all of the time, but that means you're never suspicious no matter what department you're cleaning. That's why I highly recommend the Thief Gloves and Agent ID for janitors. Spots that tend to be messy, like the bar and the med bay, also have a wide variety of people to steal PDAs from. 5 seconds is all you need, so I like to ask them a question beforehand to get them to focus on something else. Just grab it, leave, copy access, and get rid of it before they notice anything's gone. Something unique about the Janitor is that their shoes are no-slip, meaning if you're able to get your hands on a lot of slippery liquid or even some space lube, you can go loud and just be an absolute menace to the station. If that sounds like fun, I recommend using a web vest, energy sword, and EMP implanter. The vest makes you an absolute tank when up against normal bullets, and you can easily turn off lasers with the EMP. Those combined with the reflection of the energy sword make you extremely tanky and nimble. One more thing, the Janitor has a unique item, the proximity mine. It's just a mine disguised as a wet floor sign. This thing will easily crit anyone who walks over it unarmored. It costs 5 TC, which is a bit steep in my opinion, but it could be very useful. Last job for this video will be the Chaplain. Chaplain gets 2 unique items in his uplink, the Necronomicon and the Holy Hand Grenade. The Necronomicon will spawn a Cerberus, which is a ghost roll bound to the Chaplain's will. Its bite does 15 damage, and you can summon multiple if you purchase multiple Necronomicons. If one dies, you can spawn a new one after just a few minutes of recharge. For 4 TC, it's a very good helper. The Holy Hand Grenade is just a big-ass bomb. Toss it into midway and hope it works, because it'll cost you your entire TC reserve, all 20. As you can probably tell, the Chaplain is very well suited to going loud. Something I've seen used to great effect is 2 or 3 Necronomicons and an EMAG. EMAGing your Piety Vend will give you Acolyte Armor and a Cult Helmet, which provide decent resistance to pretty much everything security has to throw at you. Your playbook with this loadout will essentially be EMAG into wherever you need to go, sick the dogs on whoever you need to, take what you need, and get out before security gets there. If you keep the dogs healthy, you'll be very difficult to take down. And that's all the civilian jobs. If you have a preferred loadout for any of these, I'd love to hear about them in the comments. I'll probably talk about service jobs in the next one, so see you then.